It's over! Well, Johannes! What? You step on the floor! That's my That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy.
All right, man.
Let's get going.
Let's get it going, dude.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Body Language Podcast. Today, I've got probably the coolest guest I'll ever have on this podcast.
Thank you.
It's my son, Rowan. To my right, your left, Rowan Oliver, Raymond Moore. Glad to have you on here, man. You can scoot over a little bit. I feel like you're not centered in the frame. There you go. You can scoot over. You can pull that with you. There you go. But anyway, how you doing today, man?
Doing good.
Feeling all right?
I am feeling really good.
Cool, man. Don't be afraid to get close to the mic and speak up because
I'm good.
I want you to be able to watch this podcast and be like, oh, nice. And watch the cables too.
Yeah.
So earlier today, Rowan and I went to Foley Skatepark and just rolled around for a little bit. He made some friends.
I did. There was a few girls that would just like sit on the ramps, and I was just like,
Few girls. I know a lot of the listeners. This is going to be more of a PG podcast. Rowan's been up my butt about getting the Stam podcast going. He's like, I want to be on a podcast with you. But I don't let him watch the podcast. You know, clearly he's in the vlog. He watches the vlogs, but the podcast I do not let him watch. And so I figured the best way around that curious 9-year-old, just let him be on it.
it's the only podcast I can really watch.
Well, I mean, yeah, because a lot of the podcasts that you've been exposed to, we end up pausing like 30 minutes in because some of the content's just a little iffy. Yeah, but you know, the 9 Club. You like the 9 Club?
Yeah. It's a good podcast.
Excuse me. Flip. What else? What other podcasts do you like? I know you like the 9 Club.
That's the really only podcast I listen to.
Yeah, there's so many that they're all kind of dirty.
Yeah.
You know,
This is the only one. And also, I really like that one because all they talk about is skateboarding.
Skating. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll talk about like tricks that they've done on the vert ramp.
You watch Steve-O's podcast too. It's okay to watch.
I've watched half of his first podcast, like his very first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never really like gotten into his podcast ever since then.
Really?
Yeah.
The podcast, like Nation, is kind of all rated R.
Yeah.
Just goes to show, because there's even moments in the 9 Club where it's a little risky, it's a little edgy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite 9 Club podcast is probably the one with Chad Muska.
Yes, that one was so good.
It's
that
so
one
good.
and the Mike Vallely one.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Dude, the Mike Vallely is the longest podcast I've ever watched. That was actually the first podcast to my memory that I remember ever really sitting down and getting into. Like watching that shit and then thinking the whole time, like, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was so interesting. I felt like I had enough cool friends and enough things going on that it was interesting enough to start a podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's weird to think about because they're all rated R.
Yeah.
You know, but that Mike Vallely podcast is really freaking good, dude.
It is.
You need to watch that. It's like 5 hours long, so you'll have to probably like do what I did and like piece it together and stuff.
That's what I did with the Chad Muska.
Yeah, that's good. See, I used to have a lot of Muska decks.
Really?
Yeah, me and Uncle Ray were pretty big into the Shorties brand because they were like the hip hop brand, like them, Decca, like the S Crew. DGK wasn't around then. I'm having a brain fart on like some of the more Zoo York. Those are the more like urban influenced brands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like that because I wasn't into the urban style, but all their products from those companies I liked more than the rocker or the more punk edge that it had, which is how I was, you know. It was a weird dynamic with my shit. Like I loved Shove It brand. That's a brand that you won't know because they've been out of business for a while.
Yeah.
But Shove It used to make the best decks. Yeah. That's all one word, like Shove It skateboards.
How I remembered who Chad Muska was is because he always has a backpack on.
Always has a backpack
And his
on.
hat's always just a
just a little bit cocked. Yeah.
Either that or it's backwards and it's cocked. But that's very rarely though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I just realized I forgot to do something real quick. We will be right back. 2 seconds. We'll be right back. I just realized something. All right. And we're back.
We are back.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah. Always has a backpack on. Always has like a spray can or some sort of boom box.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be back in the day. Is that he kind of got a little bit of fame for being able to like hit an 8 set with a boom box in his hand while wearing a backpack. It's like, what the hell? Like,
reasons why skateboarders became pro.
yeah, dude, just unique stuff. Before it was like tray flip into a switch tray flip into a 5.0 down a 16 stair.
Yeah.
Type crap. It was things like that.
Yeah.
It was like novelty stuff.
Yeah.
Styles. You know?
Yeah.
Now it's actually trick orientated. I feel like back in the day it's kind of based on like how big you could go and what your style was like.
Yeah.
You know, dadgummit, I can't get comfortable today. I don't know what my deal is.
Some places it still is kind of that same way.
Yeah.
That almost landed.
I know it did. I was wondering if you saw that. But yeah, I feel like a lot of skating now is really like the level of tricks that some of these people are pulling off are just so intense that it's like you have to be a traditional athlete now in order to make it as a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Can't just be like a unique like individual that's pretty good at skating. You have to literally kick ass at skateboarding.
Yeah.
In order to make a living out of it.
Yeah.
Like you have to kick ass.
Yeah.
You know?
Ever since quarantines, I've kind of been taking it easy on skateboarding.
Yeah, tell me about that. You know, we live in an area now where you don't get to skate every day like you used to. You only get to skate like once or twice a week.
Yeah, because every day I would at least skate for 2 to 3 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Unless it was raining.
Almost every day, yeah.
Yeah. Because some days it would rain for like half a week. And it would...
See, yeah, it did.
And for 5 years, I mean, it really paid off.
Yeah, it did. It did because, there's not really a board sport now that you can't pick up. Like,
yeah.
I think the only one you haven't done is wakeboarding and snowboarding.
Yeah.
Done surfing, bodyboarding, skimming, skating.
Yeah.
You know, done the ripstick and like the hoverboards and the one wheel. Like you've done, like you're capable of all that. The rip surf. Yeah, you're capable of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Whenever I was little, I told myself that I want to learn how to do every single board sport. I don't want to do all of them, but I want to learn how.
Just be capable
of doing them and being like, know how to wear, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just be able to say that you could, pull them off.
Yeah. At least do something.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
I feel a little bad about it because when we moved here, I knew that was one of the first things that was brought to my attention is that, the shitty erosion holes in our driveway.
Yeah.
And then the lack of concrete.
Yeah.
I was like, crap.
Because people go in really fast, when, like right here, and the concrete sucks.
Yeah, the concrete sucks. Yeah, and the traffic is just too crazy
And
right
then
here on our street.
I can't skate on the sidewalk because it's right in front of the house, and two, there's like 6 different cars.
Well, the sidewalk we don't have a sidewalk here.
Like,
oh, you mean
right,
here?
yeah.
Yeah, that's just too close to the house.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we do live next to a skate park, so
Yeah.
that is
It's literally like 1 to 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's like
less
2
than
blocks.
that.
Yeah, it's like 2 blocks away.
And we've been going there a lot recently.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I don't want you to lose your affinity for skateboarding just because you don't have concrete, you know?
Yeah.
So many people that I went to school with before the high school was built up here
Yeah.
would just lose interest because they lived out in the sticks or lived in a place that just had sand or
Didn't have any
gravel
concrete.
driveway. Yeah, no concrete. So it was like, that sucks. I always had access to concrete.
Yeah.
Like even when I lived in Foley when I was younger
Yeah.
with my dad and Nani.
Didn't you live like right down?
Yeah, it was right down the street. Yeah. And that, even with it being a dirt road at the time, it's paved now, but at the time it was dirt. It was a subdivision that you had to pass that was like half a block from our house that stood alone on our property.
Yeah.
And I would just walk in the backyard to that little straightaway of concrete, and it was blacktop, so it was...
I love blacktop.
I do
skating
too.
on blacktop.
I do too. And at the time I rollerbladed a
smooth.
lot too, so that was good for that.
Yeah.
But back then, rollerblading was really cool. Like aggressive inline was cool.
Yeah.
I guess it is now. It's just kind of
It's just very rare.
It's a very rare thing. It's a very specific set of people who do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I felt bad not providing some concrete like I should, you know. But it was just like the house we live in now was too good to pass up, and you know, I keep hearing here and there that they may pave it, and the older you get, you know, you have little skim ditches here, and the skate park's right there, and you know, we keep the dinghies in the car, so we'll stop occasionally and you know, kiss some asphalt and stuff. But, you know, but I mean, it's like I try to do the best I can to make up for not having concrete.
Yeah.
Because it's just like little shred of gravel, and then it gets onto the road. The road is really old, and it's like just crappy 90s concrete, and then it gets onto the main highway. So
Yeah.
not that any of the viewers need to know where we live, but you know, that's roughly the terrain that we're dealing with when it comes to skating.
But there's something that really fun that I can do and that I really enjoy is that sometimes I'll take like my cruiser board, my dinghy that's always in the trunk, and there's this one spot where I took my spooner where I was doing like the power slides and I was trying to get down to it.
For those of you who don't know, a spooner is like a miniature skimboard that's got extreme concave in it. It's kind of like just like a carpet board. It, like if you're just sitting watching TV and you stand up and just try flip tricks on it, and it's pretty cool.
It's really good to practice your shove-its and your...
It's a practice tool pretty much, yeah.
And there's like, I flatten that grass, and so I take that and I can like ride down.
Well, your dinghy wheels are what, like 55 millimeter? No, they're like 60 millimeter.
Yeah.
They're big wheels.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, so it's like...
Aren't yours the same, or yours are a little smaller?
That's not true, man. They're like bigger than that. They're like 63 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine are the same size. I just haven't worn mine down the way you've worn yours down.
Yeah.
So they seem bigger. But yeah, they're like 63 millimeters. So they'll go through some grass.
Yeah.
Granted, you're supplied with an incline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me and Dad over here were Cheese Man over here.
Mr. Panty wearing cheese man.
We thought about getting a piece of plywood and putting it down at the end of the ditch so I can kind of like roll up and then roll back down.
Embankment. Well, that way you can just at least, I mean, you can't really skate, but you can at least have a little runway to work on some tricks or have a little bit of fun. At least, you know, have contact with your board.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not like you go without.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to shout out anybody, but that Hood Rat skate park, that's right up the road, too. Shout out to those guys. That's a skate park right by our house. I know we never go to that. But, you know, for the younger viewers or any family members interested to know where we go skate, those are some options around where we're at.
Yeah. And there's also like a few more.
Yeah, Gulf Shores Park is just too fast and it's too far away.
Yeah. Didn't Orange Beach have a park?
No. Well, Orange Beach had a park in the 90s and in the early 2000s. My buddy Thomas Martin put together a bunch of pieces of plywood from his dad's construction site.
Yeah.
And cinder blocks. And then, like, caulked the cinder blocks to the 2x4s and the plywood. And spray painted all of it and made, like, a fun box and a kicker ramp. And he actually ordered a real rail from CCS.
Really?
So
I love CCS.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. I think every skater, for the most part, loves them some CCS.
Yeah. Either that or like Vans or Thrasher or something.
Yeah, well, the Vans catalogs I don't get anymore, and the Thrasher magazines are mainly just like, they're mainly just advertisements now, or stories, and they don't. So nobody's really selling anything in the Thrasher magazines anymore. Back in the day, before the internet was a big thing, that's how we got all of our stuff, was through those magazines. You know what I mean? You'd see an ad for it, and it'd give you like a coupon and a mail-in thing, and you'd cut it out. Yeah. Put a postage and have your mom write a check, and you'd mail the check in with your, size increments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, is it just me, or does every boy or girl have a pair of checkerboard Vans on nowadays?
Yeah, in the mid 80s they became really popular and took kind of a dive because of like shoe design in the 90s. Everything kind of got badder in the 90s, everything got bulkier in the 90s.
Yeah. I love bulky shoes.
So I do appreciate the bulky shoes. Being a guy who like comes from a skate world and that's like slightly into fashion now. Yeah. Not in like, like the most heteros. Not that I have anything wrong with the type of people who typically are into fashion. I'm just like, I'm not metrosexual. I'm just like a heterosexual male who just likes cool clothes and stuff. You know what I mean? That may be a little deep for you. I know you know what I'm talking about, but but anyway, it's like that's how it changed in fashion back then. It was like the look. What it got. If you were wearing thin shoes, they were typically torn up Converse. Yeah. But skaters wore fat shoes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why they kind of got phased out. But here in the like mid 2000s till now, they've kind of made a
skinnier.
A resurgence, if you will. They've kind of made a comeback. Yeah. And I've always had a pair laying around. I've always liked the checkerboard Vans. But you're right, though. Every boy or girl now. But, back in the day, it would have been a poserish thing for that to happen. It would have pissed me off. But now that I'm older and I have kids, and I see you skate and I see how you are with other kids that skate, I appreciate the fact that skating is no longer like a taboo thing. It used to be like a real punker thing. Like it was only like the little shitheads would skate, like parents wouldn't let other kids hang out with other kids that skated because they were typically had a bad attitude. But now it's a
little different. It's
way different. So it's like, I'm okay with that. There are certain things I had to sacrifice in the skating world that I didn't technically want to, but it ended up being for the better because now skateboarding is a very popular thing now. Everybody likes to skate, and it's a great thing, Well,
I mean, some people like, if people aren't skating, they're either, like riding their bike or.
Yeah, some people are into BMX or motocross and stuff. That seems to be the big thing. This shirt, I keep looking at the camera. I feel like this shirt makes me look like fat. Does it make me look fat? No. I feel like it's just one of those shirts that made me look wider than I am. Mm. How crazy was it that you and Oliver matching this morning?
It was crazy, and we didn't even plan that.
Total by accident. Total by accident.
I know y'all, the viewers and everybody don't know who Peyton is. He's one of my all-time favorite best friends. That didn't make sense, but
Peyton was the guy that lived behind us. He was a little boy. I was friends with his mother that worked at the bar next door to our old house. Yeah. And her son and Rowan became good friends over the 5 years that we lived at that place.
We met from school.
They moved in our third year there. So the last 2 years y'all were friends.
Yeah. We are still friends, but.
Well, I'm just saying y'all met, like because he didn't live there when we first moved in. Yeah. He moved in a few years after. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, we saw each other at school because in first grade that's in like the middle of first grade. That's whenever we started like communicating, and then literally like a few days after we started like hanging out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You and his mom took us to the keg and we played pool and stuff. You remember?
Oh,
that?
that's right. During the day when we they had like a big shrimp boil boil off that day.
Yeah.
That was cool because we got there for everybody and we got all the pool tables to ourselves. And y'all dude, those cheeseburgers that day were so fire.
They were, and those onion rings. Those onion rings were so good.
Dude, I love that bar's onion rings. Yeah, but that's where y'all. Is that where y'all like really got to know each other?
Yeah. That's whenever we started like, we met through like talking about skateboarding. That's how me and Peyton met.
Yeah,
is talking about skateboarding,
video games and stuff. Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah.
You are my son.
Wait, didn't we get there at like 12, and then Peyton showed up around 1, and then we stayed there until like sunset?
No, we didn't stay there that long. We got there around like 3 or 4 and stayed there till sunset. Because
I remember it was like...
Well, the boil off didn't start until that night. And I remember we got there early before everybody started to show up.
Yeah.
Because this is not a place for kids to be really at all, but especially at night. But during the day, you know, they have the doors open and the fans going. And, you know, it's everybody there's got kids. And sometimes you see a few kids wander in, play with the dartboards and pool tables and stuff.
Me and Peyton love that.
It has its moments where it can be a kid's place.
Me and Peyton love that punch machine.
I love it too. Me and your Uncle Nick love that crap.
My highest score was...
Yeah, your highest score was like 200 and something, and then I hit like a 7 something, and you got pissed off at me.
Now I could probably do like 100, like 100.
100 more?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got like 200, like 150 or 200 on it, but I mean, it's made.
Peyton got like around the same thing. You good?
I'm good.
Why is called the cheese man?
Are you thirsty, man? You want to get anything to drink? You want to take a break or? Okay, break. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we're gonna do a sponsors. Even though they're my company.
Hey.
Yeah, man. I hate that we lost Golf to Go as a sponsor. You know, Golf to Go, RIP, rest in power. Miss you.
Isn't it a different company now?
It's a different company now, and I'm not affiliated with them at all. But you knew that. You knew.
You told me about it.
Yeah, but the Golf to Go was like my first sponsor. And I loved it. We had a promo code and everything. It was cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, sponsor read. J&T Thrift. It is my personal online thrift boutique. My wife and I started it.
A lot of cool things on there.
Really cool
Trust
stuff.
me, I've seen a lot of it.
Thrifted items, cool tie-dyes, some vintage pieces, some hype pieces. The Depop link is in description. The Instagram link is in description. For all your thrifted needs, if you don't want to go to Target and spend $100 on an outfit, then go to our Depop and put together an outfit for $50.
Yeah.
Or less, to be honest. And that's including shoes.
Yeah.
That's including shoes.
There's a lot of really cool stuff on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. You know, it's being our only sponsor for the podcast now that some financial things have changed with the business that I previously worked for.
I still don't know how you started the store.
The store? Well, I just had like when we walk in to my bedroom, you just see this big wall of organized color paletted clothes.
Yeah.
And after a while, I got to the point where I was only wearing like 15 of those shirts and then like maybe 2 or 3 button-ups.
Yeah.
So I just put together a whole pile of things that I didn't wear, and then I put together a pile of things that I for sure didn't want to give away.
Yeah.
And then whatever was left, I just took a photo of, put it for a cheap price online, and posted pictures of it. And then that following weekend, we went to the thrift store a few times, Olive and I.
Yeah.
And I kind of just bought some random items that I think would go good in the store. Threw those up there, and now we got a full inventory.
Yeah.
But anyway, J&T Thrift. Link in description. But yeah, dude, I'm hungry. I want some soup. I wonder if the soup's ready. I should text your mom. She's upstairs. Like, is the soup ready? Is the soup
Ready?
ready? Can I eat some soup? Oh, man.
Well,
yeah. So what do you want to talk about, dude? What's going on in your
about
mind?
to ask that. I was just like, what do we talk about now?
Well, without relieving where you go to school, tell us about what school's like for somebody in the year of 2020 and 2021. What is it like being in elementary school and being someone who can say that they were a part of the yesteryear of school, you know, because you got to be a part of traditional schooling.
Yeah, I did.
And then now, I mean, as everybody knows, I mean, that's like a whole new world out there now. You have to wear masks, there's partitions, you're spaced apart, you don't get lunch and PE the same way you used to. You know, like entering and exiting the school and the school bus system is really floppy.
It is.
So explain that to us. Just for people who don't have kids and just hear about it on the news, explain to us what it's like being a student in an elementary school now with COVID.
Well, it's very different. At my old school, we just sat at one desk in one classroom all day. And since I live in Foley now, they have 4 different classes.
Rowan, I just said without relieving where you go to school, man. This audience doesn't need to know where you go to school. They don't need to know where you go to school, man.
Sorry.
Could be predators watching. Can't tell people where you know, predators can tune in and just be like, oh, we're going to go there. You know?
Yeah.
I know it's far-fetched, but it happens.
Yeah.
Don't tell people where you go to school, man. Anyway, go ahead.
Last year, I was just in one class, like I already said. But now, at this school here, I have 4 different teachers. But I have 2 different, in my first class, I have 2 different, I can't find the word.
You have 2, it's like periods.
No, 2 different, like I have history and math, but with one subject. Yeah. I have 2 subjects with one teacher. She does math and history, and then I go to writing, and then it goes science, and then reading.
And you have 2 different teachers.
No, I have 4 different.
4 different. I'm sorry, 4 different teachers, but 2 of them are in the same class.
No, one.
Oh, you have 2 subjects and one. You have 2. One teacher teaches 2 subjects.
Yeah.
Got you.
And then, if you add my PE coaches, that's 6 teachers, all in one.
So your PE teacher's kind of aggressive, isn't he?
That's the guy, but the girl's really sweet.
Really?
The girl is very laid back.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how my PE teacher was. She was really, really cool. She was, I think, my first African American teacher. Like, I'd never had a black teacher before.
Yeah.
And
that's what the girl coach.
She's a black woman?
Yeah.
I remember her. Her name was Miss Scott. And this was in the early 90s, mid-90s. And she was my PE coach up until high school.
Yeah.
And she was the coolest, man. She was so chill. She was relaxed. She was funny. She always, like, brought instruments to class and, like, fun toys to class. And, like, PE was fun.
That's what my math teacher and history teacher does.
But then my buddy DJ's, his dad he moved to town and his dad started to be the PE coach. And he was good and all, but he was such a stickler, man. Like, it was athletics.
Yeah.
Straight it, you know. It was discipline, not all. And it was like, trying to suck the fun out.
That's what the guide coach is at my school now.
Kind of disciplined. Yeah. Well, some PE coaches are like.
Well, he's not disciplined. He's just, he's just a little strict about some things.
Yeah. Right. But anyway, tell us, like, some of the things that's different now, like the way you walk in the hallway, the way you eat, the way you have class and stuff. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you experience that's way different now than your old school.
Yeah. Well, lining up and doing those things aren't different. Well, I mean, I guess it is a little bit, because sometimes, like, whenever you change classes, sometimes 2 of the teachers will change, like, 15 minutes earlier. So that way
Like classrooms?
So
So do teachers have their own classrooms now like they used to, or do they have to rotate classrooms?
They have their own classrooms, just different classes. Like the child's, like they go to their classroom.
But they do switch. They do switch classrooms, but they do have a designated classroom that is theirs.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Eating lunch is different. Yeah, it's like you don't eat in the cafeteria unless you're in first all the way down to pre-K. I don't think pre-K is in my school now.
Yeah, pre-K is in your school. Or are they in your school or are they across the street?
I think they're across the street. But the kindergartners and first graders, they eat in a cafeteria, but from second grade and higher, they all eat in their classrooms.
So that's how y'all eat all the time, is in your classroom?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And also...
It's wild.
I can't remember what I was going to say again.
Forget again? You're definitely my son.
Oh, yeah. Now, like, every single time, like, I go up a grade, our lunch time gets longer and longer. Like, the waiting.
The waiting gets longer, or you have more time to eat?
Like, the waiting. Like, it's whenever I was in first grade, it was, like, around...
So you're saying the timeline, the time that you eat it gets a little later?
Yeah, it gets a little held back a little later.
Cool.
But on, like...
Not cool.
On club day, I know y'all don't know what that is, but it's like all day we just do fun things. Like we don't do math or anything, we just do fun things all day. And we just stay in one classroom on those days.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, all we do is just play games.
That's club day? How often do y'all have that?
We have it we have it once every month. Because the first Friday of a new month, we do club day. We actually did that the very first Friday of January, and instead of doing board games, we actually just watched a movie.
Now, do you have problems with kids that go to your school that don't want to wear masks? Or is everybody pretty compliant about the masks?
There's a few people in the 4th grade. I don't know about all the other grades because I'm not with them.
Yeah.
But in 4th grade, there's a few kids that literally just hate wearing a mask. Like
Do you get in trouble for not wearing a mask?
No. I mean, yeah, sometimes.
Teachers just tell you to put it on?
Yeah, they just, they're just like, hey, sweetie, just put on your mask for me. And we'll be like, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Every time we eat lunch, we always put our mask in our backpack so they don't get food or anything on them.
Yeah.
But
do you have time to sit and chat with your friends? Do they let you guys have social time and stuff?
They will let you have social time, but it's an option.
Like you can just sit in the classroom by yourself if you want?
No, not by yourself. You can just go on the carpet or something, or because there's always a desk that nobody sits at in my class, and you can just go over there and have your own time, or you can
socialize.
Yeah.
All right, for those of you who don't know my son, or the viewers that haven't met my son is 9 years old and he's in 3rd grade.
I'm in 4th grade.
4th grade. Apologies. So this is I know a lot of the people who watch this, all of them, I would imagine, has only experienced the type of schooling that I've been a part of. So it's we don't know anything about this type of schooling now because we didn't. It was just germ city at my school. People were sharing stuff constantly. Yeah. It was just free range, if you will. It wasn't ever a problem.
Yeah.
But now it's you have to there's Germex stations everywhere, masks.
There literally is every 20 meters.
Yeah.
Maybe every 40, 50 meters, there's like a Germex station.
Word.
In the hallways and stuff.
So.
But my science teacher and my robotics teacher, they're very strict about wearing a mask.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they don't get, like, onto you. They're just like if they tell you
to wear a mask,
3 times, and then it's like, okay, now put on your mask, please. It's just like.
Yeah. Well, what is first up, before I go into that, when we shot that vlog,
Which one?
our skate vlog.
Oh yeah.
We got to skate through the school. That was really cool. That kind of reminded me of some old Tony Hawk Pro Skater stuff. 'Cause our old school wasn't like really good to skate at.
There is
So
in Tony Hawk Pro Skater there is
a few schools.
Yeah, there's a few schools that
like
you can
legendary
skate.
schools that people really still skate at on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And some on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, man, is there anything you wanted to talk about? I got the coffees today. What the heck? COVID.
COVID.
Fingers crossed I do not have COVID.
Yeah.
Jesus, that would suck. That's the last thing I need right now. Life is going so good. Knock on wood. I do not want to have to deal with COVID. That would suck, but... Hey, tell us a little something about yourself. Tell us like what your favorite like skate brands are, what your favorite movies are, and stuff like that. What your favorite the music you're listening to right now? Things things you want to accomplish this year. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We probably should have started with that, but we're gonna end with that.
Yeah. I'm listening to a lot of Green Day recently. No, yeah, that and Metallica. Those are like my 2.
Yeah, I've noticed you've been listening to a lot of Metallica, and I've also seen or heard you listen. I know Foo Fighters is kind of your still favorite band.
Yeah. Well,
Big Foo Fighters
recently
fan.
I've kind of been moving on from Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to listen to them every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
It's a good movie.
And then the summer too.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, really like skateboarding today. That was like a good, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I wish that you got to skate with me.
I mean, this has been a good. It's been a good podcast.
It has.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to sit with me. Glad you wanted to do this. It's kind of cool. It's not something my channel really has on it. Is children content. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have you on the podcast, man.
Yeah.
I have to have you on for a few more.
Yeah, I would like that.
Cool.
It'd be fun. We can find some more things to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, guys. Well, if y'all haven't liked or subscribed yet, y'all do that. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell notifications if you want to. Rowan doesn't have any social media or anything like that, so there's nothing to link into the description. But yeah, man, we appreciate you guys coming to the podcast. Episode 39, I think. Episode 39. Yeah, my son Rowan Oliver. Yeah, man, that's him. That's what he likes to do, like to skate, watch movies, play video games. And yeah, dude, we'll have you on for another episode. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Maybe we can think. I'll think of more stuff to talk about.
Cool. Okay. All right, man. Well, I love you, dude. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Love you.
All right, episode 39, Body Language Podcast. Out.
Bye.
That's my boy.